Fabricator is just getting lost at the back there. The winner, who I will notice all the way throughout the film, is last on the outside here. Carl decided, I think we chatted about that beforehand, he did tell you he'd be going down the outside, not rushing too much, but right up the front is what is up?
Scott and Banks is front on the inner. Lorcan Wire going down the paint there. Greenhill Tearaway is very close. But remember, at this first fence, we lose Banjo, Diwali Dancer, What a Hand, and in fact there was one other, and it was Pashto as well. But of course, Banjo was the only horse carrying a camera of ours. They're going plenty fast enough as they go down to the first skew.
That's correct. I mean, Carl pointed that out in the interview, and that's a reason why a lot of them fall. But I mean, that's the danger. You pay your money, it takes your choice. You've got to get out of the gate and take a position. Now, let's see where the first fallers go. Nothing gone yet, I don't think. Now they're beginning to go towards the back. It looks as if well, there's definitely an unseated rider there, isn't there?
Yes, well, this is the fence eye view. Hymn of Praise going over nicely there. Well, that was Hymn of Praise jumping us now. Fabricator behind, he eventually has enough fairly well. Now, this is Banjo. Richard Johnson sees a stride, and up and down he goes. He's taking a long time. He's upside down. Horses are all over him.
What an extraordinary shot, isn't it? I mean, I wasn't a great fan of these cameras, but what a fantastic shot that is.
Well, you can't get any more feeling than that, can you? Upside down twice, rolling over, and eventually coming to a halt.
There's Earth Summit, but just to point out again, I mean, you've got to feel, I mean, it's a sport, you've got to feel for the others. The most disappointing thing for owners and jockeys and trainers, falling at the first is the most disheartening thing. As long as your horse comes back safe, that is the next most disheartening thing.
Lorcan Wire on the paint where the brave men go, on the Scott and Banks there. He's got a good lead there. There's Hymn of Praise right near to him. Skew, big jump, wasn't it?
Yes, it's the important time for the horses now, just feeling their way, trying to find out if they're going to like the fences or not. And now the big ditch coming up, the one that really tells you whether they're brave enough to jump all the way around. Do Rightly is the in the middle there. He's
Paul Holly having a good ride, and Francois Dumas on the outside. He's having a tremendous time, and does do for a very long way. Well, here you can see that Chris Maud just in a bit of pain. We'll catch up with the details of that later on. So, let's continue the race. They're spread right across the course here.
We lose Fabricator, I think, at that ditch, don't we?
Yes, Fabricator as all goes here, but he was behind and not very enthusiastic at the time, was he? He hadn't liked it at the start, and that was soon pretty evident. Here he goes. He's seen the ditch and says, no, thank you very much indeed. Well, Do Rightly is having a good run there. Thierry Duman had lost a bit of ground. St Melian's Fairway, look on the inside. We've got Greenhill Tearaway, then St Melian Fairway pulling hard. Pond House is then in the middle of the picture. Do Rightly, see him, a horrible fall there, but he sort of put down on Paul Holly, didn't he? And then he's caught the front of the fence with his front legs, and there's no return from there, unfortunately. Not, despite having gone a fair gallop, they've just settled back into their stride because they know what's coming now, Skew. Yes, they've got one more, and then we've got the Beeches Brook. And the point being is that you ready yourself up for this some way in advance, don't you? They've patently steadied, and now Greenhill Tearaway just rises first. Look at that shot of Paul Carberry on the inside on Decemberg. Sat right up his neck. You'd think it was a hurdle. And we've gone on to a point of boredom about this, but he really is an extraordinary horseman. And all credit to Greenhill Tearaway's jockey Simon McNeil, giving this horse a lot of inspiration, a great ride. Doombell and Griffin's Bar had gone Skew. Now we go to Beeches. Yes, and again we lose several horses. There's Earth Summit just jumping it now. Carl, he's waving to me, telling me how well he's going. He's not meant to do that. Call the cab, they call that. It's not really the correct thing to do. There's a few horses falling on the inside. That's Choicey and Court Melody. Yes, we'll just have a look from a different angle. Lots of people going the shortest way now, aren't they? They found that with the drop being less, Suni Bay being settled with his big weight in order to get the trip, that was a necessity.
But a lovely shot there, isn't it, in the sunlight? These brave horses. Oh, and there's the one foiler. That's Choisty just turning over, and there you see he's interfered with.
But Suni Bay very lucky to get out of the way there, because Rough Quest was almost pushing him in on the loose horses. Happily, you can see Court Melody standing up, and also Choisty, so they're okay. Now go on to the small fence. This is quite at an angle. It's deceptive.
It is indeed. Now, as I say, we're really beginning to settle now. The jockeys just beginning to enjoy themselves now, trying to track back left-handed towards Canal Turn. You've just got to be careful here you don't get sandwiched on the inside, or when you're coming back and you begin to track horses, that something falls in front of you.
Yes, I think we see several bits of good riding here, and especially on the inside from Paul Carberry on Dissiborg. You can see just taking a little cut across their Green Hill Tearaway. I gave him no chance beforehand. His form had gone, and yet he's running a superb race. But look at Brad going around the inner like a little mouse, creeping.
Yeah, I mean, they have. I mean, these jockeys now, the standard of riding is just so high. And look at them there. We see years ago, see all those paintings when the fences, they were that much stiffer, how far back the jockeys were getting. But now they're all sat up their neck. They look like you and I did in our heyday, Rich.
Joe White was still there, but Rough Quest made a very short route round there and made up a bit of ground. But up front, Carberry nestles into the horse's neck.
Fantastic. I mean, you're just becoming part of the horse. It inspires the horse with so much confidence. Just got to be careful that when you do that, that if he does make a mistake, you don't go flying off over his head. But as we saw him on Guided Missile earlier in the week, he doesn't fall off very often.
Hymn of Praise had made a mistake at that last fence skew. He'd been jumping well, but I'm afraid he hit that one very hard. Now, this is the time of the race where these two leaders, they've gone away and they almost feel camaraderie. You can see Carberry sees a big one there, asks, gets it. Simon McNeil, who is the oldest jockey in the race, the professionals call him Peter Pan because he's young at heart, but this is a thrill money cannot buy.
That's right. I mean, to be fair to these two horses, they have no real chance of winning, but they're given a great exhibition of jumping. This is what it's all about. These two boys, I mean, I know it's wonderful to win, but in this race, it is also wonderful to have a great ride round. The athleticism, the bravery, the honesty of these horses is what really attracts you. And look at Carberry there. He's almost whispering in Dissiborg's ear.
Yes, but what was he saying? Keep doing that, old boy. There's a long way to go. Well, we've lost one there. It was General Crack, I'm afraid, and Maple Dancer pulled up. But what a good slot here. We look back and we've actually missed the action there because Jamie Evans, his horse, refused. He went over the horse's head. Damas said, no, I've had enough. And I would like people at home to know you cannot make a horse jump if he doesn't want to.
There is Simon McNeil and Paul Carberry just having a chat there. And when I say this is the point of the race, you can have a bit of a chat now because there's no fences for a while. They'll just be asking each other, how are you going? How far in front are we? You know, let's not go too quick now. Let's ease down. We saw Sunny Bay there, and they'll be just wanting to stay upside just to help each other.
Skew, keep your eye on this loose horse. Now, he's quite good and he runs out very shortly, but he could have caused a pile-up. But as they come round the bend, the left of the picture, Thierry Duman on Ciel de Brion. He's going well and riding a patient race. Rough Quest in the middle there under Mick Fitzgerald. Creeping through, we've got Brad, the 12 stone. He's aware of that. Here is the winner. It's the first time you've seen this race, isn't it? Or this part of it.
I've only known where Earth Summit is throughout the whole race, you mean. But now I was beginning to get excited now because you can begin, these two in front of us say they haven't got great chances. You know you're going to get there. Ciel de Brion was one that I was worried about. He's going very well. Go Universal has come there. Lorcan on the inside. Here's Ciel de Brion just coming in and out of the camera shot on the outside.
But by the time they get to the chair, he's actually in front. St Melian Fairway also poking into the picture. I must say, young Durac's given this a ride. It hasn't run for 490 days. He's in 4th place and he's right up there where the brave men go. But keep your eye on the loose horse. He's Lorcan Wires looking at him and saying, well, what are you going to do? Which way are you going to go? And now just look, Green Hill Tearaway and Carberry again jumping well. The third horse there, Ciel de Brion, very shortly will get a position for the chair. And I think this is the most amazing piece of riding from a young man who turned professional only 10 days ago. A lot of horses in the picture, Skew.
Yes, there are, but the race is there's the loose horse coming back. This was the worry, and when I was screaming at Richard here for this loose horse to get out of the way, because I could see Earth Summit here about 6th or 7th on the outside, and you always worry that when horses do that, they come back the other way. You almost have to, when you're following them, you you have to think, if they're going left, you go left with them, because they'll usually shoot off the other way at the last minute. But now we've got the big chair coming up, and very often we've seen horses running around in front of this chair, but luckily they disappeared out of the shot. There is Earth Summit. I know where he is still, Richard.
Yeah, but I must just say, Skew, you weren't urging me on at this point. You were actually holding my hand with trepidation, but I didn't mind. There was a lot at stake. Let's look at this important part of the race now. The course funnels. Thierry Duman is nearest to us. Simon McNeil, who is nearly old enough to be his father, could be in fact. But look at the stride Duman sees. Fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I always say that you don't really want too long a stride here. That's Earth Summit there, went right up to the board. Funny that he should do it perfect, isn't it? But you really, as I say, especially off this soft ground, Duman gets a long one there. Not too bad, is it?
Watch Simon McNeil, because Green Hill Tearaway
well to stay
stood
off.
off.
They are. Look how close Earth Summit gets to that board. Right.
There's Rough Quest.
And Rough Quest. These are what the good national horses do. Sam Lee coming there, just lands there a little bit long into the red. Dean Gallagher having a great ride. Here we see them on the landing side.
And remember, it is raised ground here. That's one of the tricks of the Grand National. There's the winner going through. Rough Quest, Hymn of Praise, Kenny Whelan, and the old man of the party there into the red. Now, this jump is fantastic. It's the water, it's easy, and you get over this and you feel, I've survived a circuit. I've only got to do it all over again.
You do. It's a trappy jump, isn't it? This again, you get horses will sometimes trying to duck out on the inside. We saw Lord Guyleen last year, who was just in a little bit of trouble because a loose horse ran out in front of him. But you just want your wits about you. But now, again, the jockey's beginning to settle down. The race is beginning to form now. You know the horses are with a chance as you turn round towards the go out on the second start. There is Seal de Briand.
But the packed crowd there, Skew, and the moment the bulk of the runners get over this, they actually cheer, because, you know, there's still a lot of money riding. Over half the field is still here
Go
at this
Universal
stage.
going through there. There's Into the Red. He would have preferred faster ground.
You've got to go on whatever you've got. Now, as they go around this turn that used to be in years gone by absolutely a flood of colour where the punters were on the inside, now a very different story there, as it is totally empty. But the feeling that jockeys have now, it's huge confidence, or it used to be when I was doing it, Skew. You knew that you'd done it once, you could do it again.
Yes, I mean, I'm just going through what Carl Llewellyn's mind must be going through now. You know, he knows the horse is going well. He must have to say to himself, come on, concentrate now, no mistakes, don't track anything stupid. You can see he's a little bit wider because he's by Celtic Cone, this horse. A lot of the Celtic Cones like a little bit of light around them. They don't like to be crowded. And there up front, Seal de Briand, with that French style of Thierry Duman, rides quite beautifully. And the other soft ground specialist, St Melian Fairway, on the inside.
One of his part owners, Martin Bond, is recovering from a heart attack. I wonder how he was feeling at this stage. It's not exactly the best to be doing when you've had surgery, is it? But there is St Melian Fairway, named after their golf course down in Cornwall, and he's disputing it now. And look at the grey. Suni Bay has crept quietly through, going down the paint, saving the ground. He's got 12 stone, and of course he's going to have to nurse.
Yeah, it's a real artist ride from Graham Bradley. I mean, I was petrified when I saw him come there, because I knew he'd got there doing nothing at all. And Rough Quest, he was the other one that I was worried about there, just towards the inside of Summit, just about to jump now. Look at that magnificent jump. I say these hook fences need to get close. You need to get close to them, but he really did go and stand off that.
Standing off, you can do it, but you can't do it at all of them. But they're nicely locked together there. There's Earth Summit going through. Rough Quest nearest to us. Over on the far side, Kenny Whelan once again. Killershin, the out-and-out stayer, just creeping towards the back of them. St Melian Fairway nearest to us. We change the angles now. Up front, Green Hill Tearaway, who honestly has left his form of recent races well behind him. Thierry Duman, what must be going through a young man's mind at this stage? He's having a tremendous ride. He goes right up the neck.
What is extraordinary about Duman is that he rides in that French style, which some people criticise. ignorantly, because they sit up the neck so much that he does remarkably well to stay on when a horse does that. But Earth Summit now, I mean, I was squeezing your hand even tighter now, wasn't I?
You were really, really emotive, and that's what life's about, Skew, let alone winning Martell Nationals. Stride for stride, the two leaders, bold on the outside. You're just got in a bit close.
Yeah, that's the one mistake that Earth Summit had made. I'm not, you know, he's not the bravest horse. It's a rather unkind thing to say about a horse that's just won a national. But he, you know, when Carl asked him there, he just put down. He said, "Look, I'm in charge. I know what he's doing." White, black and white flag, just warning the riders that there's a faller on the inside. They're drifting now away from that to give themselves a bit of room.
Did you notice Duman pull his goggles down? That's always a sign that a jockey in front knows that he's still got plenty in the tank. He wants to be certain of seeing every stride he can.
There is St Million Fairway in fourth place, going very well. Green Hill Tearaway, great ride from Simon McNeil. I'm sorry, Simon, I wasn't watching you from there on.
Carl looked around then. Did you see he was taking stock of what was happening behind?
I noticed that, and when you see a jockey looking around like that, you get great confidence. There's Sunny Bay creeping into the race. They've all come off the inside a little bit now to get ready for Beeches. You know, even though the drop isn't as severe, it's still treated with the utmost respect.
A horse's well, St Million Fairway getting so close in there, but Andrew Thornton, ever the horseman, sits tight. But what is amazing, Skew, is the scope that horses have got. Remember, they've already gone 3 miles, and yet they're still able to pick up. It's a tremendous performance from these animals who give so much for us.
Coming down to, this is Beeches now. You can always tell Beeches from a jockey, not because you count it, because of that hedge on the left-hand side, and you can see a little path. The horse is galloping over that behind them now. But here they are racing on to Beeches. Another obstacle in the way, pushing them wider. But Earth Summit, look at him. He's jumped it beautifully. Sunny Bay, look at the jump here. Graham Bradley extracted from him. Rough Quest, I think that is going right down the inside. The jockey's not giving any room away at all now. But the race really beginning to unfold.
Well, let's just have a look from a different angle. A huge jump there. Horses can cover up to 30 or 40 feet. Now, that is Rough Quest. He's actually jumped it at quite an angle and almost gone into the cones that were there. Lorcan Wire, he knows that he's weakening slightly. Was that Hymn of Praise jumping up rather high there? But this now, Skew, is getting serious. They are concentrating, they're playing jockeys, they're trying to weigh each other up and see what is in the tank.
Yes, I mean, we were talking about tactics beforehand, and everybody's saying, oh, they shouldn't go too quick early. This is the time when the jockeys will be conscious of the speed. You saw Brad and those in a minute now just swapping those two. Green Hill Tearaway just going out a little bit to his right, taking Seal de Brion with him. But all the jockeys around now, knowing that they mustn't kick too soon, just trying to hold on to the horse. There's Lorcan Wire and Scott and Banks. Their chance is gone now. You've got to push them along a little bit just to try and hang on to their leaders.
Brad made 3 lengths by cutting across the Foynehaven fence. He's now sitting back, taking hold, conserving his petrol. He can't run out before the end. Look at the leader here. They cross the path, which is only yards before the fence. They're trying to cut in. You can win or lose a national here. Big jump, meet it right, but Brad actually takes the paint off the wing there on the grey. That could have won him the race, but of course your horse Earth Summit is creeping. The one that we lose is actually Brave Highlander in the Aldeniti colours, and you just watch Brave Highlander's jockey Philip Hyde. I think that he got hung up for a while, Skill.
Yes, you said that at the time. Funny enough, I didn't watch it. I was watching Earth Summit, but let's see what happens here. There he is. He's gone towards the others.
And he's coming on backwards.
The horse sort of arched his back a little bit, and poor Philip Hyde lost his balance, and really won't be his proudest moment. And there is Sam Lee just climbing over that fence. And
Killer Shin, he's totally outpaced. Well, there is Philip Hyde. He rolls out of danger, and now it is serious. Green Hill Tearaway, could we believe after his form of pulled up 7th, pulled up refused, pulled up, could we believe he was still there? Earth Summit, the pattern is taking hold, Skew. On the inner there, Brad, knowing he's got to keep hold under 12 stone. Next to him, Earth Summit, 10 stone 5, exactly the same weight difference as Crisp and Redrum 25 years ago today.
Yes, and as we're reminiscing, I remember my father won the National in 1959, and he was a little bit fortunate too, in that the jockey that was upside him was Tim Brookshaw, and just at about this stage, Tim turned to...
Ciel de Brion is the one that goes, but he's had a tremendous ride. He'll take some memories back to France.
But Tim turned to my father and said, look, Mike, no irons and we're on the pictures. And that's exactly what, there's a Lorcan wire just going, that's exactly what jockeys will be feeling now. You know, you sense they have dreamt about this since childhood, seeing the BBC cameras on the inside as this run towards Valentine's here, and you know this is the history being made now.
On the outside, Green Hill Tearaway in Salvo Giannani's colours. Remember, Salvo, of course, had Mudahim in the race. It was a non-runner. He had a tremendous run there from Green Hill Tearaway. Yeah,
disappointment for Simon McNeil. He almost couldn't let the reins go, could he? Just tipped off at that fence, and after such a beautiful ride, great disappointment.
DC Borg refuses at that fence. That's actually where he gets rid of Paul Carberry after having a tremendous ride. But, of course, Skew, now what goes through their mind? Brad knows he's got 12 stone. He knows he's got to hang on. Carl, conversely, to make his weight tell his weight difference, has got to start stretching.
That's right. I mean, Carl's mind is that he knows that Earth Summit will stay, but he also knows this ground is very, very heavy. If he goes too soon, Sunny Bay is a class horse, and he'll come back at him at the end. If he doesn't go soon enough, Sunny Bay will outsprint him.
I wouldn't imagine there was very much conversation between the two. We know now that Earth Summit wins, and I can't remember another horse winning a Scottish, a Welsh, and going on to win the Martell National. I know I've had a lot of concussion, but we'll look into the form books and see if that's happened. It's a great feat. But stamina, as Nigel Twiston-Davies says, is one of the attributes that is necessary to win this. Brad, at this moment, looks to be going very well.
Yes, I mean, obviously I was worried. You know, you're looking for little signs. In a minute I see Carl slap Earth Summit down the neck, and you know, that's a sign, just the beginning of half a distress single that you're asking him to go faster. It's then you know whether he's responding to it, but he is just gradually creeping away from Sunny Bay, just making that weight difference count.
At this stage, I just think you really believed it could happen. And all of a sudden, the field has been quite depleted. There's been a lot of spread betting on this. The Sporting Index gave 19 to finish early in the week. When the rains came, they'd got it down to 7, and that was to be proved very accurate indeed. Carl Llewellyn now focused, looking between those blinkered ears there, and he knows that this horse will see the trip out.
Yes, and all credit to the horse. I said he wasn't the bravest at some of his obstacles, but here he jumps these last two in absolute efficiency. I mean, he's got a great short stride. As a jumper, you need a horse that's handy in front, and you watch this horse. He could dance on a sixpence in front of a fence if you asked him. Very, very good. Brad's still holding on to Sunny Bay, but he knows now that, look at that beautiful jump. Two magnificent horses.
Skew, you've got to spare a thought for the Cohens, Upland's Bloodstock, Wendy and Andrew. They were second last year, but well beaten with 10-3. Now their grey has got 12 stone. They must have been going through the agony that you were going through.
Yes, very much so. But I mean, you lose nothing in defeat. I think with these horses, all you can do is ask them to do their best. And he has run a magnificent race under 12 stone. It was an impossible task, and this will go down as one of the great weight-carrying performances. Carl just shortening him up there nicely, just running down it left-handed, and now the dreaded run-in. You're just hoping, as we've seen so many times, that the result changed from there, but now Carl chasing him away. Come on, old boy, you've just got to, no more fences, you've got to do it now.
Well, I don't know what state your chair's in, because you were kicking 7 bells out of it at this stage, and I should think it'll have to be replaced. But here, Skew, even you didn't believe it could still happen. You were still going through the agony of thinking this run-in has claimed horses before.
I think exactly. I mean, it must be heart-aching. I was looking when Richard, you and your son Mark, it happened to you. I mean, what it must feel like to do all this hard work and then have it taken away from you.
And here, is the gap narrowing?
Yes, and you were trying to instill me with confidence and saying it's not, but it's pretty much it was touch and go here. And Carl was very clever. He's put his stick down now again till he gets to this rail. He's just chased him along, and now when he gets to the rail, if he wants to, he can pick up the stick. He's not going to look round. He's going to ride. Well, I don't think he did. I wasn't looking from now on, but he's picked up his stick. I was virtually in tears by now.
That's just what they call a reminder. He's given him one behind the saddle there, and he's just waving that whip. Oh, another reminder. It's a very serious job with £212,000 to the winner. Well, they say there's not much prize money around on Martell National Day. There seems to be plenty of it. Even the winning stable gets £10,000 as part of their percentage here, so it's winners all round. His legs are working, he's waving his stick. In his heart of hearts, Carl Llewellyn knows, a little peep under his shoulder, that he's going to win his second Grand National. He won it on the giant party politics. He drops his hands and emotion will be flooding through his veins. I think it's flooding through Skews as well, because he's gone ominously quiet.
I'm watching it. It was a fantastic moment, and let's not forget all the horses that have been placed behind him. Paul Webber's horse, St Melian Fairway, was placed, and funny enough, Paul actually bought this horse as a bloodstock agent for us. And
also remember that this winner was bred by trainer Jim Old. What an accolade for him. There's a huge breeder's prize for this. Jim will have gone away with a handsome return. Sold it for less than 6,000 quid. Has had to wait until the horse was a 10-year-old to get a real big divvy.
Well, he's done pretty well so far, hasn't he, with those Scottish and Welsh Nationals. When I bought it, Carl had ridden the Dam, funny enough, Wingreen Hill, when he was at Jim Old's. He told me she was useless and this horse would be the same, but I think he'll be saying something different tonight.
Well, jockeys are notoriously bad judges. That little look, let's see how his face reacts. Normally, the smile spreads and then bursts. But this was a cool man. We saw him beforehand chewing glucose, it looked like, just to give him that last bit of energy. And the now familiar finger, number 1. 6. But this is the result. First, Earth Summit, number 6, 7-1 favourite. The first horse ever to win the Scottish, Welsh and the Martell Nationals. Sunny Bay was second, 11-1. Sam Lee third at 8-1, 20-1 fourth, St Melian Fairway. Now this is what Gimme 5 was fifth, and Killishin, as I say, remounted to finish sixth and claim that prize. Well, let's have a check now on what happened. Challenger, Duluk, Banjo, Waterhand, Diwali, Dancer, Pashto all fell at the first. Sadly, Pashto collapsed and was a fatality later. Fabricator, not keen, he fell at 3. Do Rightly, a nasty fall at 4, another casualty, sadly. Fence 5, Dunbell, the Mare, Celtic Abbey and Griffin's Bar also fell. Then we went on to Beecher's Brook, where Court Medley and Choisty fell. At the next one, Northern Lad, General Kraken, Damas. Well, that was the 11th fence, and Damas actually refused rather than General Crack, I think. I saw him go. 14, Maple Dancer pulled up. The Water pulled up Pond House and Joe White. 17, Go Universal into Red, Hill Walk and Radical Choice. All had enough in this soft ground. Fence 19, Yeoman Warrior pulled up there. Fence 21, Winter Bell pulled up. Brave Highlander unseated at the canal turn. Philip Hyde going out the back door. Lorcombe Wire was unseated from Scott and Banks. The Elderbrion fell, and Hymn of Praise also fell. The Last Ditch, Green Hill Tearaway, he unseated his rider, McNeil. What a great ride he'd had. DC Borg pulled up, and fence 29, Rough Quest pulled up.